Connect. We gotta connect. We are live.
Okay.
Yes. So we are joining you from the Allison Werder Entrepreneur page, where we are going to be sharing with you different topics such as fashion, business, small business, marketing, small business mindset, that kind of thing, as well as some kind of tips about family life, or maybe, how to go on dates with your husband, how to fit that in, what it is like to be an entrepreneur and a business owner and a woman in her 30s, I guess. So that's the kind of thing that you're going to see on this if it's the first time you've seen our lives on the Allison Werder page. So today we have an awesome topic for you, because this is something that we get asked about often, and by we, I am Allison, and this is
McCall. Hi, everyone. McCall Amundsen. We want to be official.
Want to be official.
Yes.
Yes. And I'm going to share with you, start sharing with you a little bit about McCall and her role and that kind of thing. But we do get asked, the two of us, that's why we're both here, we get asked by other business owners, how did you guys kind of connect together? How did you start to, work on business together? Because they recognize how awesome it is to have somebody alongside of me that actually pretty much acts like they own the business, as far as taking like ownership of responsibility and growth and determination and all that kind of thing, as much as I do. And I know that sounds probably pretty amazing to some of you. So how we went about that and how that kind of transpired. So do you want to give a little backstory? Should I do it from my perspective first, and then you can do it from your perspective?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
So about 3 years ago, I recognized that I needed help. Let's just be real. I felt like I was spinning my wheels. I wanted to grow a business, and at this time I just had a boutique, a storefront. And so I sought out some help from a mentor, and he actually started to take me through some mindset shifts in order to recognize how we could frame up a business and have it actually have growth that we could handle, and do that in the very best way. So I started to learn from him, not only learn from him, but actually put into practice the things that he taught. Come on, there's a difference there.
Details.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the things that he talked about was how I needed to find somebody that had strengths that would not be the same as mine, but would complement and fill in a lot of the gaps that I lacked. And so I started to kind of try to wrap my mind around that a little bit, and said, I need a manager. It's kind of what the term that came to my mind. I need a manager. I'm a dreamer. I can do that kind of things, that kind of futuristic thinking, but I cannot do the details. And so we titled this one, how you can drown yourself as a dreamer, as an entrepreneur. And that's exactly how I felt. I felt like I was drowning and I didn't know how to get out. So one day, and you can take from here.
One day, I wanted a really cute dress that Allie posted on Facebook.
There it is.
And that's how she sucked me in. And so I went over to the shop and was like, hey, I want this dress. So she's like, oh, I have it in this back room here. Like, all weird, like, nah, it wasn't that bad. So I went into her back room of the shop, and she shuts the door and she goes, so, have you ever thought about coming to work for me? And I was like, really off guard, really shocked, because I had a very stable job. I was in sales. I kind of thought I had my life figured out. I was happy with that. I was just a few months away from finishing school, and I was like, I got this. Like, I'm not really actively pursuing other careers right now. And so we talked on and off for 4 or 5 months before we had finally had come to a decision, and what she needed and what I was looking for. Mm-hmm. And I left my job and I came here, and I didn't really know what my role was going to be, because she knew there was things and tasks that needed to be filled, but it wasn't exactly clear what that was going to look like, and what my strengths were going to be versus hers. So like, after speaking, we knew that there was a lot of strengths that I could help fill, but exactly what that was going to look like, we weren't for sure yet. Mm-hmm. So it took probably the first 2 or 3 months that I really after that could finally say, like, this is what I own and this is what I do. And it worked really well.
Yeah. And to speak to that point too, it's like looking back, that was actually a really great situation. You know, maybe if you're a business owner and you're thinking to yourself, I need to figure out exactly who this person is and what every single one of their traits are and that kind of thing. I think it's better to have like a general idea on what your strengths are and what you're kind of looking to fill, but to be open with who actually comes in, because they can bring things to the table and like co-create that position then with you to realize what it actually is, and then it could be so much better than anything you imagined. And so I think that's where that is. There's maybe a lot of people that think if you don't have an exact plan that you're like out of control or chaotic. But I think that if you hire the right people, the people with the right tendencies towards things and who have the determination and also are aligned to your core values, then that's a beautiful scenario to have, because they're going to bring so much more to the table than if you just, you know, put them in a box and frame it up for them.
Right.
So,
and I think if you are looking for someone high level to really be in the position of your yin and yang and really fully be involved in your business, that you have to be vulnerable to that and be very open to what, because I think we wouldn't make it work unless you were super open with me of all the needs and all your dreams and aspirations and what the books look like at the end of the day. If I wasn't as involved in that, it would be a lot harder. And from speaking with other business owners, a lot of times after people learn a relationship, I've had employees come to me from other businesses be like, how are you able to talk to her about that stuff? And it's just because we're so transparent with each other about everything that it's never a question that's like, why wouldn't I say something to her about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't let problems aspire because we're just super open and clear. And I didn't realize that there's a lot of people in their business that aren't afraid to share those things with their employees because they're afraid that they're like, if things maybe aren't as beautiful as they should be, that they're like maybe afraid for their job, or they might think, I've had people say, well, you know, I don't want them to know how much money I am making. It's the opposite effect. And it's really like, if you are truly care about your employees and your team members, that you want care because you want the best for them too. And I know Allie and I are on the same page that we both want great things to happen. So.
Exactly. And that is definitely one of those key points to making sure that the people that you have working for you do feel like they have an openness enough so they're not worried. Yeah, they can't be worried about their job or position and that kind of thing, but it's amazing when you open up to people how much safer they actually feel with you, and how they feel like, you know what, if I have a clear picture now of what this looks like and what it is going to take in order to get to this next level, in order for me to, you know, grow in my position, in order for me to make more money, in order for me to do whatever their goals are, have more freedoms, then if you have that openness, they can better than be like, okay, now I feel like I can control some things more, and I'm going to help this whole thing move forward, help everything move. And that's ultimately who, you know, you want to have on a team, of course, is to not have people who come in and punch out, but who are thinking along with you, how can we help co-create this awesome, amazing business, and how can we best serve the people we're meant to serve. So to that, you've already talked about, if you found the yin to your yang, don't hold anything back. So on a practical level, you might be thinking to yourself, you know, what kind of characteristics and traits do I have? What characteristics and traits does McCall have? And we have taken this, the StrengthsFinder test, which is actually, it's a book that you purchase on Amazon, and then you're able to take the quiz on the inside, and then whichever your strengths that you actually have, it will go ahead and go into detail about those strengths. But what it does for us, and what we've seen it do for other businesses as well, is it creates a common language so that you can have clarity. Like, you know, the way McCall reacts to a situation is different than the way I'm going to react. And it can be explained by our strengths. Like, it's a different way to look at something. And so I think in a lot of situations when there's misunderstandings or people are kind of like at each other, it's just because they are naturally going to look at something in a different way, and then there becomes that, like, you know, issue there. So StrengthsFinder, that's probably been one of the biggest things that it's done for us, just to help understand each other and have that clear communication. So what are your top 5, McCall?
My top 5 are responsibility, significance, competition, communication, and includer. And yours are?
Mine are futuristic, input, activator, competition, and ideation.
So,
yes.
We only have one in common, which is a good one to have, I think. Competition. Because we both love goals and want to win.
Exactly. We're both, and it's not in the sense of being competitive against each other necessarily.
Or in sports, for that. Just for you guys know. We're not sporty
at all. But it's like we have this like goal set out there that we both come to agreement on, and we just want to crush it. And so that's really a good one to have. But, so my top one is futuristic and my third one is activator. That means that when I get a dream or an idea and whatever, I just want to go full bore ahead and make it happen as quickly as possible, because that's how I view issues and problems and success, is like being able to go ahead like that. But what I lacked, of course, was the ability to stop and be like, okay, what are all the details and all the steps and the plan and the goal what does it really look like in order to go ahead and achieve that? And so that is definitely what McCall brings to the table.
Mm-hmm. I would say the number one difference between us is like Allie has all the ideas and has all these dreams and aspirations like run it over, and I like see all that and I'm like, okay, but how are we gonna, like, let's figure out a plan to actually make that happen and do that and see the details. Or sometimes I have to be the bad guy and be like, yeah, that sounds really lovely, Allie, but then there's like an obvious roadblock that it just doesn't make it real at the moment. You know what I mean? So it's just to have that person that's going to be honest with you in those times when you need to make hard decisions.
Exactly. And those hard decisions, yeah, and it's really difficult. I put my emotion and my all into things as well, which I say you do too. You really do put your emotion behind it. I mean, you're very, very determined in the correct way. But sometimes it's good and it's very needed to have that practicality to be able to ultimately get there. And that's the thing that I had to come to in my head. And if you're an entrepreneur and you are a dreamer, don't stop the dreaming. Just have somebody come alongside of you that's going to actually put the actionable steps to the certain dreams that you can do at this time, but who never, tells you to stop. And I don't feel like you've ever done that. To me, you never, crush it down. In fact, we have a list of 100 dreams, each one of us here at my midlife closet, and we believe in dreams. We absolutely do, and we believe they can be achieved. So there we go. So why do you need to find the yin to your yang? So that you can achieve those dreams, really. And it makes life incredibly, incredibly easier. It's not simple. There's a difference between simple and easy, right? Because building any type of business, there's always different things you got to jump around to all the time. Mm-hmm. But the way that we go about it, the mental clarity I have, the ability for me to go home and leave work at work is infinitely better than it used to be, because I can, create clarity with McCall. We can even make a list and come up with some action, put it on a calendar, set some goals to it, and then I know that it can happen, and I don't need to be a complete mess in the process. So find yourself yin to your yang. If you found a yin to your yang, I would love to hear about it. So go ahead and write a comment if you see this video. That would be fantastic. Give a shout out to your yin. All right, because that's awesome. We actually just found out one person that we know I know that she follows this page too. She just found the yin to her yang, so that's pretty amazing.
Yes.
And you talked to her.
Yes.
About that. So
yeah. Or if any of you employees working under someone have questions about approaching your boss about any of these things, message, and I can help answer any questions too, because I didn't realize that there's a lot of fear. There shouldn't be fear.
Right.
It's really a lot clearer than you think. It's just there's emotion in it right now. So you'd be happy to help that.
Exactly. And you can go ahead and message this page, the Allison Werder public page, because guess what? McCall reads it too. Back to our open clarity.
Yes. We have a running joke that I could literally steal Allie's business and run away to Mexico because I know everything.
Absolutely everything. Absolutely everything.
So,
yep. So there it is. There it is, folks. We practice what we preach.
Okay.
All right. So thank you for watching. We hope you have a fantastic day. Watch for more videos from us.
Yay, we did the first one.
We did. Woo! Okay. Bye.
Bye.